play like he did. He was mean. He really was. But it was only because he didn't have nobody his age and his size and a boy to play with. The boys was older. They didn't want to get out on dirt and play cars with him. So that's why, that is one reason why Charlie was as mean as he was. And he was. He was pretty terrible when he wanted to be. But when he wanted to be, he could be good. Yes. And I love him. I get so mad with him sometimes I want to shake his teeth out. I really would. But I loved him. I really did. You know. Anything else?
Aunt Jenny, great grandpa Tom. By the way, you talk about his big house. It was torn down probably 30 or so years ago. That was one of the larger homes in this part of the country. But anyway, he had his kids by his first wife, right?
Yeah, he didn't have no kids with Miss Mary.
How many, was he just married twice or 3 times?
Just twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
Miss Mary was the buck hog.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a worker. And
You told me,
this was kind of, Joe, I'm glad you brought that up. This was kind of unusual how our granddaddy remarried. He was just lost with our grandmother. And there were some men in the neighborhood. They felt sorry for him. They couldn't, I think Lloyd Davis was one of these, or somebody in that family was one of these men that was involved in this. They had watched Granddaddy just sit on the porch. He wouldn't do nothing. He missed grandmother so much, he just quit. Well, they found a woman. She was a widow woman. She had kids. And she lived away when nobody knew her. But I don't know how they got a hold of this lady. But she was needing a husband. She had kids, and she had no way to work and make a living for her. They got with her and told her that we know a place where you can go and you will have a home, and it will be better if you will agree to do this. Well, she agreed to do it. They went and got her, brought her back, said, now Tom, this is your woman. This is exactly what I was told. This is your woman. You're gonna live with her, and she's gonna take care of you, and y'all gonna have a life. Well, she was too old to have kids anyway, but she was good. She had her bad times, but us kids loved her because she took up a lot of time with us, but she had her kids too. So that's how he got married the second time. It was that way.
well, it was his first wife. Was she a Thornton?
Yes.
That's, I wondered how we were tied into the
All
Thornton.
the Thorntons. You were kin to all them Thorntons. Lane hadn't got into that yet. I don't think.
But Leslie works with a lady at Baylor, who's a Thornton that we're kin to.
A lot of applications selling, you know, a lot
Yeah.
of Marshall and D.L.'s family.
Yeah. Our great grandparents are born at old, that
The Thornton family.
Thornton, out there where the Thorntons live.
Ben James Cemetery.
Big, no.
Ben James Cemetery is what they're calling it. Ben
Maybe it was
James.
Ben, but they were buried in the Thornton community because our grandmother was a Thornton.
Rainer, he gonna record this? I mean, I'd like,
Yeah, I've got it right down.
I mean, if you do, you know, print, I'd sure like to see
Yeah.
a copy or
Yeah, you can get a copy of this. Yeah, it said that they were buried at Ben James Cemetery in Pierce County.
I'm talking about all this research.
Yeah, it's all, yeah, I can get copies of this.
She'll send y'all 4 volumes.
Yeah, 4 or 5. It keeps
And
growing.
we're also kin to the Davises. Yeah.
Now,
Huey and Gene Davis, well, a lot of you that live close by know Gene Davis. They live right across the big road that goes up to Bewley Church from us. Me and Penn used to go over there. Gene could play that piano. He weren't knee-high to a bullfrog, but he could play that piano and we'd sing. I'm telling you, we'd have a family reunion with all the singing you've ever heard. We had a good time. And Penn and I, I've got to tell y'all this, we sung. Daddy would put us up in them primitive Baptist meetings for us to sing, not the songs that they sung, the songs like we sung in our missionary Baptist church. We made our own music. We clapped and we did it. And Daddy would put us up and we'd sing. And I was about 13, Penn was 9 or something. We ordered or bought, every time we made any money, we bought us a record. Chuck Wagon Gang. Y'all, we learned them songs from one end to the other. And we were invited over to Beulah to sing at one of their scenes, so we went. Pap carried us. You ready, Ann? Pap carried us. Cheryl, y'all. Anyway, we sung our heart out. And Linwood's daddy was there. I didn't know him. He didn't know me either, really. But when the sing was over, he came up and he said, we're gonna have a sing at Lee's Chapel next Saturday night. I want you girls to come sing. And I said, I don't think we can get there. I don't have a car, and I can't drive. Pat was there. He said, I'll see that they get there. So Pat carried us next Saturday night to sing. And the man that asked us was Linwood's daddy. My husband, he didn't know Linwood Lee. It was his daddy. Well, I didn't know who he was. I didn't even ask. And later on, when Liv and I started dating, and he carried me up to meet his family, and I saw him, I said, that's the man right there that's got me into this. He didn't realize the connection there right at first. But that's how I got to be a lead. Right there. Yeah.
Now, going back to the Pierces. Now, he was married to the first woman and she passed away, and that would be Granny's mama, correct? My Granny's mama. And then he remarried, and then they had another set of kids?
Another 5 kids.
And then he passed away.
Yeah, and she
And
married.
she married again and had another set of kids.
Yeah, they had, the next marriage was a Sweat. And he died, she had 3 kids for him. And he died, and then she married again. But there were no more youngins.
Oh, there weren't any children in that
So
last
there was
marriage.
4 generations of people there born to 2 different people, really. And first and the third were not kin. The second and the fourth were not kin. It was a rat race. I mean, you had to stop and think about that. But that's the way it was. Yeah. Our granddaddy was married. He married our mother, our grandmother, and then he married another woman, and she had more kids. And then he died, and then his wife married. It's a mess. Yeah.
What about William Boyette, our great-great-grandmother, his wife? I can't remember her name.
Who now?
William Boyette, he's buried at Ben James. Seth's son that moved here.
Well, now, I don't know what her name was. We got some goods, but I hadn't looked it up. But, she was a Summerlin. I can tell you that much. I don't know what her first name was. And the Summerlins that are in Waycross, we're into. Yeah. That's that, and this woman that was a Summerlin, she was, let me see, who was she?
We're talking about William that moved from,
Anyway.
College, Georgia.
Are you talking about William Thomas Jefferson's father?
Tom's dad, yes.
Okay, he was married to Sarah Priscilla Holland.
Holland, that's right. So where is the, now, who are you talking about, Aunt Jenny?
Which one?
The Summerlin.
Summerlin. Charles Summerlin, Joe, do you know him? Charlie
Yeah,
Summerlin?
he came here to, your birthday.
Yeah.
July,
Rick into him,
yeah.
yeah.
In fact, I don't know how Aunt Zell.
My granddaddy boy,
Yeah.
his wife was a Summerlin.
Right.
Aunt Zell was, our grandmother's sister, the Aunt Zell. Aunt cousin Clinton Bland, do you know who I'm talking about? That was Daddy's first cousin. That was Aunt Zell's daughter.
Aunt Zell, she was real old when I was young when she died.
Right.
Teenager, 18, 19.
And that's how we were kin to them on the boy side. Yeah. One time something odd happened, after the house burned. Lem and I was down one night and we had supper and we was sitting talking and Daddy mentioned something about he was having to preach a funeral. And he said, I don't have a suit to wear. Well, see, nothing was saved out of that house. He didn't have a suit. Well, nothing was said about the suit. And on the way home, Linwood said, you go down and get your daddy tomorrow. You take him to Howard Thompson's and you get him a suit. Linwood couldn't think of him preaching and him wanting to wear a suit. My daddy was very proud of his clothes. And I went down the next day and I got him. I told Daddy, I said, we're going to buy you a suit. And Daddy was very tender-hearted. He started crying. I said, now Daddy, don't cry. You're gonna make me cry. Carried him to town, to Thompson. And I knew the lady that worked in there. She was, I'll tell you in a minute, here comes Timmy. She was Daddy's first cousin. And I had no idea what in the world. Just a minute, give me a minute. It'll come to me. Anyway, she was working in there. When we walked in, Daddy said, her name was Pauline McDonald. Edgar McDonald. So she married Pauline. She was a Thorn. Daddy said, Pauline, what are you doing up here? She said, Lester, I work here. And I said, my gosh, they know each other. I didn't know. I didn't even know how. Well, we didn't say anything until we got in the car. And I said, Daddy, how did you know Edgar McDonald's wife, Pauline? He said, she's my first cousin. Her mama and my daddy was, her mama and my mama was sisters. And I never knew that. And I'd been married and in the family several years. And I knew the McDonald's. And I did not know. That's how families, they can get scattered and they can get lost. Your identity can get lost real fast. And sometimes you have to be careful. You may be dating your brother or your sister. You just don't ever know. That's what happened way back in the 1800s. You just never know who you're associating with. That's how people get scattered. John?
You didn't mention, but when the house burned, how the community fell in and built it back. I mean,
Yes.
We helped some ourselves, but it was amazing how the women come and brought meals and cooked every day, and they built that house.
I was in the 11th grade when the house
So you
burned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Lynn was there.
I was
Lynn
there.
was there, when the house burned.
yeah, I was there.
Yeah. Everybody was so good. to mom and daddy in that community. We couldn't live in a better community than we lived in. Everybody tried to help somebody that was in trouble all the time. And when the house burned, Daddy had, the inside of our house was finished, but they were gonna build 2 rooms upstairs. But when they got the bottom part finished, they moved in, because Earl and TJ was babies then. And naturally, Mama wanted her own space. And they went ahead and moved in, and they said, well, we can finish the upstairs later. Well, as we all left home, Daddy got some logs, and I don't know, Joe, if you knew anything about this. He got some lumber saw. He wanted to finish them upstairs room. The place was up there for him. And the house burned.
He stacked the lumber outside,
Yeah.
so it would cure. They
Yeah.
didn't build houses with the raw lumber back then. They let the lumber cure, and then they would build houses with
Yeah.
it. And he had it stacked outside like that, so the lumber was cured, so he could build the upstairs.
Yeah, that's what he was gonna do. So they had to build a new house and use that lumber.
And the neighbors were so good. That afternoon, the house burned that morning. That afternoon, they came and they cleaned off the land and everything. And hauled everything away, and everything was clear. And they started building that house the very next day.
Yeah,
Did they ever say what burned the house?
and we had Christmas,
Everything burned in the house.
everything.
But what caused the fire?
Mama and Dad, they had killed a hog that day, and I was in school, and we had a wood stove, and the wood stove, the house just had shingles on, and the wood stove had a piece of tin around it to keep the sun and all from falling back down. And Mama and Daddy had come in, and Mama had started a fire. And she had started a fire in the wood stove. And the leaves had fell from the trees. There was big oak trees in the yard. And the leaves had fell from the trees and got in the groove of the house. And when she went out, she looked and she saw a soot burning in the top of the stove. She went out to get the hose to put the fire out, and when she turned around and looked, the whole top of the house was on fire. She ran in and she threw a pot out the door that she had. She threw a pot. And they saved the couch in the living room. They pushed it out, and she was pushing the chair out with a mattress. She had a mattress in her arms, and she was pushing the chair out the door. And
Yeah, I got off the bus there that day, I'll never forget that.
Daddy was gone. He had gone to the neighbors, and whenever he come around and he saw it, he saw her pushing that chair out. And then the neighbors saw it. And it was gone.
You know, everything was burned.
But they even had a housewarming. It take 30 days to build it. They had a housewarming, and they were back probably better off than they were before it burned.
Right. The neighbors brought furniture. We had furniture brought to us and everything. It was amazing.
But I think the reason that we had such good neighbors, my mama was a good nurse.
Yeah.
She delivered babies in that community. She really did. She done everything she could. Mama was just that kind of a person. When Deke Maddox, Joe knows who I'm talking about. Deke Maddox was a little boy. His mama got really sick, and she couldn't make it. She couldn't do it. And Mama took Dick and brought him home with her. He was about 3 years old. He's the age of Hap. And you girls may know who I'm talking about. You probably heard your daddy talk about Dean Maddox. He was like a brother to us. He lived in our house till he was about 10 or 12 years old. But he was always at our house. He was always there. The Mom and Daddy they were the best neighbors. And I am bragging on my parents. I wouldn't have taken anybody else's parents above mine. They wasn't rich, but they cared. They cared for other people as well as their own family. And Mama delivered, like I said, she delivered a lot of babies around there. And she never complained. She'd get up at night, they'd come get her, and she'd go. Sometimes she'd be gone 2 days, but we made it. You know, when you got parents that care, it's blessed. Yeah. It's a blessing, y'all. Yeah. You've got parents that care, they'll always be there for you. They really will. They'll believe you, they'll trust you. And we had those kind of parents.
And they planted gardens, and the neighborhood would come and gather out of the gardens. If they ever needed anything, all they had to do was call Lester, and he would give it for them. And they had corn and peas and beans and that the neighbors would come and gather. They swapped back into, when you got tobacco, you swapped back into to help the neighbors with their tobacco. You didn't gather it by yourself. You swapped it back into.
Is it true that Grandpa was a dentist also?
He had a pair of hooligans, didn't
Daddy said he had horse, for the tooth on the horse, but he'd also pull kids' teeth too.
Oh, yeah, he pulled my teeth. He pulled my teeth. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
He did. He would we had a shoe last. Do you know what a shoe last is?
No, they don't.
And a shoe last is a metal piece, and it's up on about that high, and it's a lot of last made like a shoe. And he would take our shoes and cut the leather out, and he would turn them on top of that shoe last and take tacks and nail tack our shoes, our leather shoes, so we could keep wearing them.
Tell them about the family that forcing themselves.
Oh, there was a family, Joe knows what I'm talking about, that lived right across the creek. The creek separated us, Joe, the Tillmans, and the boys. And they used arsenic or lead to kill certain worms. They would dust their plants with that. And the Tillman man had the son Leo. And arsenic lead is a powder, very strong poison. And he had some left, so he went in the kitchen. There was a baking soda box that was empty on the top of the shelf. He got that box down and put his arsenic lead in there and set it back up there. Well, when his wife got ready to make biscuits, she reached up and got the baking soda and put it in the biscuits, and she like to kill them all. They didn't know what was wrong. Here they come across the creek. Now this is before I was born. Here they come, I heard all this. They come across to get Mom and Daddy, some of the family. They're all laying out, they're dead, they look like dead. Daddy got over there and he looked, he saw the man that owned the old man. He said, this bunch has been poisoned. He said, well, how did they get poisoned? I ate the same food they ate. Well, they got to talking. He didn't eat a biscuit. She made biscuits. He didn't eat a biscuit. And whenever they realized what happened, Mama went and poured milk in them. I don't know if that done any good, but she saved that family. They would have died. You know,
She put eggs in the milk.
you have to learn, when you learn things, you have to remember and get the best out of it that you can. Mama being the only girl in the family, she had four brothers. She had learned a whole lot. She really did growing up. She was pretty smart. She would have made a great school teacher. She would have made a great doctor. Yeah. That's the kind of family we grew up in. We wasn't rich, but we were proud of everything we had. We made use of everything there was. Mama didn't throw away a scrap. She took the UANR sacks and bleached them white, and they looked like linen and made us clothes. And nobody knew we were wearing a UANR sack. Mama was smart. She was very smart. And my daddy was too. There wasn't nothing he couldn't do. You know, when you've got that kind of heritage, it makes you just proud to know that I did have parents. They were hard. They made us work, but it didn't kill us. That we had parents that taught us how to live. And that's what we did. Taught us not to live. So like I said a while ago, he laid the law down for those boys. And he told them what you will do. You will not come home smoking. You will not come home drinking. And they knew he meant it. And not the first one I know of has ever been arrested. Yeah, Mama was funny. She was a jokey. She liked to joke. Y'all will like this. We always have a big garden because there was a bunch of us. And there was some people in the community wanted to get some tomatoes and wanted whatever they could get. And Mama was going to can tomatoes. Bo Stewart, y'all, he was a first cousin. He lived at our house too. He was mean as a snake, but he didn't do nothing bad. He was there, and Mama had got through with the family wash, and the wash pot was still clean with hot water in it. And she told Addie, she said, if you will have them boys to go to the garden and pick them tomatoes, I'll can them this evening, and then the neighbors can have what is left. Daddy said, boys, y'all heard you, Mama. Well, they knew, they heard, and they had to act on it. Well, we had an old car they called the pedal jumper, and they got off down the road, and this cousin said, you know, if we had that puddle jumper, we'd take it around there, that tomato patch, it'd help us. Well, Bo, you go get it from Daddy. Well, here Bo went. Uncle Lester, we need the puddle jumper. Well, he let them have it. They lined up down that tomato road, put Bo at the tub. They threw those tomatoes at each other and threw them to Bo, and he threw them in the tub. Well, they got them picked and turned into the house, but they eased them in the back door.